There's a saying that says, if you want to know who you are, take an average of your 5 best friends or the 5 people that you're around the most. And that will paint the picture of who you are. When I started therapy, God, I guess it's been 5, 6 years. They give you a lot of tasks to do. And I was so broken when I went into therapy that I wanted to deal with my immediate problems. And it really pissed me off that the therapist said, no, I had to delve back into my early childhood and all these other things. I was like, that's not what I'm dealing with today. I don't care about that. And the strange thing is he's right. A lot of the issues that I was having today were things that re-manifested because of how I had dealt with or not dealt with a lot of stuff in my early childhood. Okay. So let's take a look at my 5 closest friends. Let's start with my brother, biological, same mother, same father, my younger brother, Romar. Growing up, he frustrated me more than any human being on the planet. We did not like each other. He was a snitch. He looked out for himself, and as long as he was good, he didn't care what happened to me. If he participated in some old ill shit with me, he would tell on me like he wasn't there, side by side, hand in hand. If he did some shit, he would tell on me like I did it. And I took the brunt for a lot of that for a long time. And then when I left home and went to the military, everything changed between us. Maybe it was the distance. And now we're as close as ever. And I love my younger brother to life. Love him. He has went through a lot and he's evolved as a man. And I couldn't be more happy about the trajectory of his life. Then you have my other brother, Charles Babb. Charles has always been an enigma. He is a force of nature. He's always been one of the people who inspired me the most, even though he's several years younger than I am. Because he was always willing to take life by the tail and on his own accord. He was never afraid of failure. He was never afraid to step out there. And if he has to be the only person out there on the limb, so be it. But he was going to experience life to its fullest. And that's inspiring because a lot of times you do get stuck around awful people who put their own limitations on you. And sometimes you start to believe that dumb shit. Not Chuck. Then there's one of my best friends, Lonzel. God bless him. You know the saying that if there was no such thing as bad luck, you wouldn't have any luck? That's Lonzel. He's had it rough for a very long time. And sometimes you know how you can sometimes almost get in the way of your own happiness and sabotage yourself. And I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but just sometimes when it comes to managing his own life, I don't know what to say, but I know that man is one of the most loyal, most hardworking, and most best well-intentioned men that I know. And the one thing that I do know about him is that he wants to see the other people that he's around and that he cares for succeed, sometimes even at the sacrifice of himself. And then another one of my super good friends, as you all know, is Centel. Crazy thing about Centel is you can just tell when a person is genuine. Hopefully, if your discernment's working, you got a little wisdom on your side, you know when a person's genuine. And he's a genuine dude. He's solid. He wants to see people win. And that is a outstanding quality. You know, he's got a solid support system at home. And, you know, what can I say? That man has been in my corner to help me win. And, you know, it's one thing about giving people their flowers when they're gone. And I fully believe in giving people their flowers while they are here. And that dude is one of the most solid dudes that I know. You know, these people are my brothers and I love them to death. But if you count it, that was only 4, it's not 5. And I don't really have a 5th. I have a lot of other people who I consider friends and I'm very cool with, but on a day-to-day basis, those 4 men are men I talk to damn near daily. I talk to Chuck pretty much every day. I talk to Centel every day. My brother, Romar, I talk to, every other day. Sometimes we miss days, a week. It's always a good conversation. He's busy. Lonzel, life gets in the way, and I talk to him every few days. But that's about it. Outside of my mom and my kids, those are the only other people I talk to daily. But what does that mean? As you're trying to grow, after you get therapy, how do you level up? Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steve, nupefromdaville, and I'm here to talk to you about the season finale, Season 3, Episode 8 of Invincible. I thought you'd never shut up. If you've been rocking with me for a while, I'm not going to do a long recap, and as you can see, my intro was long. So it's going to be real short and sweet, and then we're going to get to the point of this. You should go into the description and click on the link that says episode this analysis is based on, and you can see the reaction and discussion between myself and Centel. The last few episodes, Mark has had it rough. This entire season, Mark has had it super, super rough. From fighting with Cecil and the whole thing about the GDA and just not trusting them, not trusting Cecil, and all the people that were after Mark to begin with. To having to deal with Powerplex, and then the Invincible War where other Marks from other worlds, the multiverse, showed up and caused havoc on Earth, and that really degraded his trust on the Earth. But now we have the biggest, worst threat to him and everybody else on Earth that's shown up so far, and that's Conquest. Conquest is an old Viltrumite, but the thing about Viltrumites is the older they get, the stronger they get, the more seasoned they get. They send Conquest to planets to take over, to damn near kill everybody, get them in line to be part of the Viltrumite Empire. And they send him here because Mark wasn't doing his job. So he gets to unleash his full fury on Mark, and he's going to kill anybody and everybody in the way. And what we have is one of the most epic battles and one of the greatest battles in animated history. Now, you might say, no, I can think of several more that are greater in anime. And you're probably right. But in just straight up animation, this was not only a great battle between the two of them and Atomic Eve, and Oliver, but what made this so epic was Conquest himself. Brilliantly voiced by Jeffrey D. Morgan to go against Stephen Yeun's Invincible, and if you know, you know. Walking Dead fans, you know what this scene meant. Conquest shot to my top 5 all-time villains. Like, he gave a monologue that was like none other. His banter during this battle was just next level. And it increased the value of this battle, almost like any other I've ever seen. We get to a resolution, but really, the one thing where I can make sense out of all this is that sometimes therapy, which clearly everyone on this show needs intense amounts of therapy, but sometimes in order for you to level up, you just gotta get some damn good sense. And what you would hope is that common sense, good sense, would show up before someone has to beat it into you. And that's what this episode was. It's damn near like Conquest beat some sense into Mark in the Invincible. You know, I love my quotes. I have 2. The first one's by Daniel Gilbert. And he says, "Therapy can help you understand your thoughts and feelings and to develop healthier ways of coping with them." Okay. The second one's by Matt Haig. And he says, "There is no standard normal. Normal is subjective. There are 7 billion versions of normal on this planet." Now, I know what you may be thinking. Why are we talking about therapy? This episode didn't have anything to do with therapy. But really, it should. This whole season has really been about the need for therapy for everyone on this show, and everything that they're dealing with. And it's hard for us as normal people without superpowers to understand the magnitude of the pressure that these folks are in, dealing with life and death situations every day. I think unless you are like a detective, a police officer, undercover private police officer, a spy or something, you don't deal with these life or death type of situations on a daily basis. I'm calling this media therapy deep dive the need for evolution. And that's because it really is about therapy and leveling up. How do you level up? Even after you've gone through therapy, now what? Allegedly, I'm healed. Allegedly, I'm better. So you mean to tell me the universe doesn't just open up and give me what I need, what I want? No, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. This season was amazing. Not just because I love the violence of it all, which I did, but because we got to saw actual growth. And Mark has pissed me off this entire season because it always seemed that he would bump his head and not learn. But he did. It's just slower. You see other TV shows and other properties where the heroes learn pretty damn quickly. But one of the reasons we go and watch these things is because it's escape. Because we know that real life is not like that. Mark is a teenager. He's 19 years old, 20 years old, and he learns slow. We've seen Spider-Man, we've seen all these other, heroes and stuff in shows, Aang from The Last Airbender, that even despite their young age, they get a lesson, they learn it, and they move on. They're better for it. Not Mark. Mark doesn't learn quite that fast, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're watching a show, you expect this superhero to learn faster, quicker, be better. And it took him a while to be better. He's dealing with it the best way he can. And maybe I think that's why I appreciate Mark so much. Because even though he's like the strongest person on the planet, he's also a real person. Shit doesn't click that fast with real people. Even after going to therapy, you say, I'm not going to get mad so quickly, and you still do. There's someone out there that still knows how to push your damn buttons. They'll say that word, that thing that triggers you. And you're like, damn it. I got to call my therapist right now, because I'm about to crash out. I absolutely 100% believe in giving people their flowers. Growing up, I didn't hear a lot of praise. I heard a lot of criticism, a lot of anything, but I was able to, no, let me take that back. I did not hear a lot of praise from areas where I wanted to receive praise. My father was extremely critical and abusive, verbally, mentally, emotionally. And the sad thing about it is, it's just like anything else. If you did something 10 times, the first time you did it 9 times right, it was perfection. But that one time when you messed up, most people would never let you live down that one time that you messed it up. They won't praise that you're at 90% on this thing, that you killed it. God was great 90% of the time. But sometimes you create this narrative where you're so good at it, then why are you messing up? I expect excellence from you each and every time. And no one is perfect. No one. There's only one person that walked this earth that was perfect, and they still killed him for it. My mother did give praise. She did. It was just, again, one of those things as a young man growing up, I didn't realize that the praise that she gave, I was so used to hearing her praise, it was not enough to counteract all the negativity I felt on the other side. And that's the thing about negativity, it's so heavy. It's so dark that it outweighs the light and the positivity of praise. And sometimes it's easier to focus on the positivity, but that is a mindset, and you have to fix your mindset to only focus on the good, not the bad, not what you lack, not where you're wrong. And for a lot of this season and past seasons, I've been focused on where Mark lacked. Because as a superhero, he puts on a suit and goes out and does the right thing, which would be hard for anyone. But he has to be held to a higher standard. He has to do better because people depend on him. Lives are at stake. It's a tough position to be put in, especially when you're going through a lot personally. All the stuff with him and his dad, and all the stuff that he learned, believed that his entire life was a lie. And he's at an age where it affected him internally, emotionally, mentally. Not to mention the fact that his dad beat him within an inch of his life. That's a pretty tough physical one to deal with. If any of us had to deal with that, you would not be right for a while. You couldn't just brush it off and get back out there and do your superhero thing. You would be angry. You would safeguard your heart so that no one could hurt you anymore. That's not what we expected of Mark. We expected him to learn from the experience, be better, forget your dad. It doesn't happen that way. I'm a grown-ass man helping 50% of the equation completely sabotaging, just nuking my damn marriage because of some shit I didn't learn as a child, that I didn't deal with as a young man. Things that I had repressed and put out of my mind, out of sight, out of mind as a young man. It happens. And all I can do now is continue therapy, be better, because now I'm raising kids. I'm trying my hardest not to screw them up because they are my world. Even when I was young, I decided to devote myself. Whenever I had kids, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be like my dad. I'm not going to do this. And yet you find people that are near you that know that that is a button to push with you. And they will stand on that mother, just push the shit out of that button. You're like, for real? And you dare curl up your lips and say you love me. But yet you'll stand on that goddamn button. Anyway. Thing is, after you get therapy, how do you level up? Like, what do you do? When I was going through probably one of the lowest points of my life, and the people around me would tell me, you know what, all you gotta do is work on yourself. And I want to slap the shit out of everybody that said it. And these are people from the church. You should want to slap deacons and pastors and stuff. Like, yo, all you gotta do is work on yourself. And you don't shut the hell up talking to me. Work on myself. You see my life falling apart here? I'm trying to work on that. They weren't wrong though. I was. You know, so now that you have an improved mental health, you've reduced your anxiety, reduced your depression, you've added some new coping mechanisms to your everyday to reduce your stress, your trauma, found a way to improve the regulation of your emotions. What do you do? Because that's what we're looking at. When we look at Mark in this show, what is he supposed to do now? That poor man cannot catch a break. Even he found a sliver of modicum of happiness with Atomic Eve. He's got a girlfriend now that he really loves and someone that gets him and understands him on a whole different level. He may have loved Amber. They're just of two different worlds. And that's not saying that people of two different worlds can't get together, but you have to have someone who has walked in your world, who understands your world. Someone who can be your peace. I didn't understand that. But you need to have someone who can be your peace, and you need to be someone else's peace. They should be able to look at you as a safe space. Warm, inviting, encouraging, supportive. So what do you do? How do you level up? Now, I could get on here and give you a bunch of things that Google tells you on how you level up. But I'm going to cut this right here because I'm asking you, how do you level up? If you watch this episode, you know that at the end of the episode, there is trouble on the horizon. And not that Mark has had all the trouble for 75 men's lifetimes in this one season alone. And this is the third damn season. And what we got at the end, there's so much trouble still on the way. If you read the books, then you know Anissa's still coming. It's going to be a damn problem. You got Nolan and Alan going to show up. So Mark is going to have to deal with the whole thing with Nolan. You got Thrag on the way. Not to mention Demon Knight, the Sequids, like, there's a lot of problems. You got Angstrom Levy still out there, like, problems are on the damn way. And all of them present monumental, epic problems. So again, this is Rakai Steed, nupefromdaville. I want you to like this video. I want you to share this video as much as possible. I want you to share this video as much as possible. But most importantly, I want you to comment. How do you level up? What is the next steps? You went to therapy. You got your mind right. You're doing all your affirmations. You've aligned your chakras. You got crystals, or you meditate and reading the Bible every day. I don't know what it is that you're doing to stay on that path, to be right. I could tell you what I'm doing, what's working for me most days. 8 out of 10 times is working. I know I'm not 100% healed, not by a long shot. It is a daily process. But how do you get to what's next for your life? What do you need to do? Let's start a list. And if for some reason you haven't subscribed yet, stop tripping, subscribe, hit the button. Remember, everything we watch is about this, but even more than that, it's about this.